Hi, my name is Skin.
My name is Ace and we are from Skunk Anansie.
And you are watching MUZO.TV.
Let me start with saying that this actually is a scam, because there's no way that you've been around for 25 years.
It's a scam.
It's a scam.
It's a scam.
You hear what she said,
we've
Ace?
been around for 24 and a half years. It's actually 25 years in March.
25 years. It sounds like
Yes.
a lot of time.
It sounds like a lot of time. It feels like a lot of time. No. It's interesting because I mean, anyone I think it's been around for a while is going to say the same thing about how fast it goes and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we're still 90s kids in many ways, but we got our feet firmly in 2019 at the same time.
We've spent a lot of growing up time together, haven't we? Really, so we've known each other since we were in our mid-20s. So it's kind of like all those stages that people go through life. We still know each other, so it's quite a nice heritage, isn't it, to have?
It's a nice heritage.
Yeah.
What kind of fruit is that?
It's a furry one with a spiky bit on the inside.
25 years of knowing one another and you're not bitter. That's a success.
Yeah, I have
That's
a strap
another
line.
fruit.
I'm going to get a t-shirt. It's going to be like 25 years of this shit.
Yeah.
Still not bitter.
Yeah, it's still not bitter yet.
But
No, actually, I think that the magic is there. The fact that we just we get along really well. Actually, we're kind of we did a photo session the other day, and the photographer's like, you guys are really good friends. And I was like, yeah, we are. That's why we're still in a band together. I mean, we're like family now. So it's like, but they still annoy the hell out of me and stuff like that. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Mm-hmm. When I think about bands that have been around for 25 years, it's always been like Deep Purple and so on. And suddenly you realize, wow, 25 years of career. And it's
You're making me depressed now.
No, I'm not going. I think about the legacy and the thing that you still have got something to say. You still have got ideas, and we've got albums to come.
Yeah.
Surely.
The new one, it's weird because this is going to be a live album, 25 live at 25. And it's the first time we've done a fully live, proper, big, fat rock live album. I don't know. I think it's because like a lot of recordings that we've listened to, because I think half of it is the fact that I run around the stage so much that, unless I really think about it, really a lot of it isn't even like caught on the microphone. So we actually, it was 2 gigs recorded in Poland. Mm-hmm. And I kind of made a real special effort to keep my microphone here and sing properly and breathe properly. Otherwise, it just would have sounded really bad. It would be like, they're singing Jesus again. So it's really special to us because it's quite a nice thing. There's lots of things in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
What's inside?
There's a lyric book. They've recreated one of your lyric books. So it's triple vinyl.
Actually, no, it's a photocopy of me writing the actual lyrics to some of the songs.
It's an actual little book.
Oh, is it?
It's a little book.
He knows more about it than I do.
Right. So, the reason I know is because I clicked on a link on our social media to see what was in the pack. Right. That's the reason I know. But there's posters. There's a poster made of when we recorded one of the first album or something, where we all wrote all the tracks on the wall and put pictures in there ourselves. So there's full-length poster, like a recreation of that. There's a lyric book from Skin. There's a 10-page kind of photo montage. Kind of fold out with all pictures of us being stupid. Yeah, it's a vinyl 7-inch as a bonus track, triple vinyl sleeved kind of LP cassette of it as well. And then there's a double CD with all the pull-outs and all this type of thing. So there's a lot of versions.
Package. It's a big package.
It's really good. It's like we raided our archive for it. And
yeah, we all had to go into our personal storage places and dig out the big boxes that say Skunk Anansie and literally go deliver them to the manager for like 6 months. So so it's been a lot of work. It's been fun actually because you forget how much stuff we did. We did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did. We've done a lot of kind of like landmark things as well. When you look back on it, at the time you think, I forgot about that. We just happened to play with the Dalai Lama and Pavarotti.
We sang with Pavarotti. I stayed with his house. We played for the Dalai Lama. We played for Nelson Mandela. So those are 3 mega people of this century. So yeah, it's cool.
You're a brilliant live band, but it's not easy to record a live album, to put out a live album that is really good. This one is.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
And
Great.
you know what? The gigs that actually, the Polish gig that we used, it was in Gdansk. Okay, that wasn't a recorded gig to use. We recorded the whole tour, and the whole tour went through from around about 5,000 to 15,000, say, like in an arena in Milan, and then right at the end of the tour. We played these 2 clubs, and they were about 1,500, and one of them was in Gdansk, and then the next day, which I can't remember, you will probably know which one it was. I listened to all of the recordings from the tour to pick the songs, and I thought I was going to be picking them from different shows. And I think what happened, by the time we got to that end of the tour, we got to the smaller club as well. We kind of switched into kind of like, we can do what we want. It's a club kind of gig, and the vibe was there. It was something about it, and then I ended up like using the whole of the dance gig and only going across for a couple of songs that slightly sounded a bit vibier maybe in the night before. Yeah. But then we found, because it was going to be 25 tracks, there was 5 tracks on there that weren't included in that show that we really liked. So I think it was like Squander and Secretly and things like this. So then I had to go trawl through the old stuff but we'd only recorded shows from Black Traffic time. So nothing before that. So I had to go back about 5 years and just go through things until I found tracks that matched, but see, it still had the kind of vibe, recorded by the same sound man as well. That was kind of tricky. But the amazing thing was the guy that mixed it all was our kind of guy that's been doing all of our records. So he really understood the band. So he managed to balance it up so it does sound really consistent through the whole thing.
And it's energetic and it's really professional, because not all live albums sound that great, I have to admit. Is it easy to listen back to your gigs? Because
No.
you had to do it when preparing
Because
this
if
album.
I'm really honest, I do at least 3 bad notes in each song on the whole recording.
I don't believe
But
it.
if you fix, it's true. But if you fix those things, then you lose something. So we just kind of left them there,
So it's like Jack White's attitude.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to sound real and authentic, And if you make everything too perfect, then you lose. To be honest, you can't re-record anything anyway, because live everything is going down all the other microphones. So it's almost impossible to go in and change anything in a major way, because like my vocal is on the drum mics, it's on the guitar mics, and the bass is on all of the mics, the guitar's on all the mics. So you just have to do a great performance and just try and be lucky. And we knew that if we recorded the whole tour, one of them was going to be great. So we were happy that it was Poland, because actually we really love playing to Polish audiences. They are crazy. And for us, they give us so much love and so excited. And so we always do the best gigs here anyway.
And
That
people are still hungry for music.
Yeah, hungry.
Do you remember we had a party that night as well after that gig? Do you remember with the Pearl Hearts?
Oh, that's right.
Then
Yeah.
everyone, the road crew, all of us who got really drunk.
Really drunk.
And they messed the whole place up, didn't they? All like
Yeah, the
fizzles
Pearl
all
Hearts
over
are
the place.
fucking. There's just they started a riot. Those girls.
It's a proper rock and roll party.
They're so fun. I love
Yeah.
them.
What about the lyrics? Because some singers, don't kill me yet. Some singers say that they cannot remember their own lyrics. I don't know whether you've watched Sia's performances. She doesn't, she
Remember
cannot
anything.
perform one song without a mistake. And she laughs at it like, shit, this is my song.
I kind of am the same, actually. Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. If you listen to the album and you know every single word, there are some very strange things at some points. Especially like My Ugly Boy. I just sang it wrong on the night and there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm very good at fitting in similar syllables or similar words. So I'll be like, my ugly toy! Something like that. It's live. We have a lot of songs and, sometimes it's kind of like, you're singing a song, you look into the audience and some guy goes like that and you just laugh and you forget the lyrics. So it's really easy to get off-put, especially when you're looking around people. So, I mean, I'm famous for making up complete verses and complete choruses and forgetting everything.
Okay, but you may always say, I'm the writer. I know how it's meant to be.
Do you know, at the end of the day, I think that people don't care that much about that. They want a great sounding record and they just want it to be what it is. And they don't really care that much if it's not perfect. I mean, I think that I was talking about it earlier. The thing about the live gig is that you have to leave room for spontaneity, and you have to leave, because in that spontaneity, you get things wrong, and then that gig becomes special because of that one thing that went wrong. Like the memorable gigs for me are the gigs where like Ace's guitar broke, and we had to do a 5-minute jam session, you know. And there was another time we were playing with the Smashing Pumpkins, and our whole rig broke, and we had to sit on the front of the steps and play acoustically, you know. And those things are like much more interesting than having a completely choreographed perfectly, like, you know, like a MUZO gig or something, where everything, like every tiny millisecond is timed and perfect and, you know, soulless. Well, sorry, did I soulless wasn't about MUZO.
It's too late.
It wasn't about MUZO. I was just saying, you know, I went into another sentence.
But the spontaneity is your power, I think. And it's a great power. But what about the people in the audience? You've just mentioned the guy doing some funny things, so you can see the people. You notice them.
And some of them would come to every single gig. Like Theo comes to practically every gig. So a lot of the front row, the front kind of first 2 rows, sometimes we know them all. So... And we, you know, they know what's going to happen when, you know, if I'm going to walk into the crowd, they know it. And that's also fun because, you know, they like the repetition. They like knowing what's going to happen, you know. So that's fun, except that I like to fuck with them. I like to mess about with them. And sometimes they do weird things, like they put posters up in certain songs and balloons. And then one song it was like, you know, roses, and another song
where they turned it round and it had like a message on it. It was like,
they had messages. Another hand they had like
birthday, wasn't there?
That was happy birthday. Yeah. And then one time they did the hand, you know, for this is not a game, and they all had the thing on the hand. So yeah, our little skunk army are really, really cute. We love them.
They are quite devoted, I have to admit.
They're devoted, and you know.
And we look after him too, though.
Cass looks after them very well. He goes drinking with them every night.
It's a weird way
I have a feeling that they buy all the drinks, though.
He looks after their livers. Not.
Who looks after who?
Exactly.
Actually. And what about walking in the crowd? Is it risky? Because it looks...
Do you know...
It looks like you're doing it effortlessly.
I mean, I've done it so much now that I've actually stopped kind of doing it. People have been stealing my moves, you know. People have been stealing the Savages. She's stealing my moves. I love that band, by the way. And, you know, 30 Seconds to Mars, Jared Leto. But, you know, I was the one that was doing that. I'm not the first one to do it, but I was the one that kind of was doing that a lot, you know, the walk on hands thing. Now everybody's doing it, so I'm a bit like, you know, maybe I'll stop. I've been playing acoustic guitar in that song, so it's the only thing that stops me from walking out into the audience.
And what about preparing to tours and preparing to gigs? Because there are legends about bands partying and so on. And some people say, no, we cannot party when we're on tour. These are only legends.
Well, you know, we're older and wiser now. So, yeah. I mean, I think that most of the time we're good little children. Especially me. Mark is the most saintly out of everybody else because he doesn't drink at all.
He's like the king of the movie. When we get on the bus, we're like, what are we watching, Mark? And Mark's like, we're going to watch this movie. And he sits there with Eri, who's his wife, our backing singer, and they get lots of snacks out, loads of snacks, and they eat loads and loads of chocolate and things like this. And we sit there and we watch films with Mark, and then I pretend not to be drunk. Right, and I drink lots of vodka, right, but like an old man does, you know, like sits in the corner and drinks his vodka, watching film, pretending not to be drunk. I really like this bit, like that. And then Cass goes out with the Skunk Army. As soon as the gig finishes, he goes out with them straight out to a bar or a club. And then
to look after them.
He wants his Jesus moment.
Yeah, and then he'll come back at 2. The bus leaves at 2.
Various stages of inebriation. I mean, you know, I think that we were much more gang-like and wilder in the 90s and in the earlier stages Skunk Anansie, and now we kind of like 4 days of being good children, 1 day of being really bad. And then 1 day of recovery, and then 4 days of really being good children again.
We used to have a tour manager. He's gone now, but the joy on his face when he could sit and drink all night with the band.
Yeah.
Right. So you drink every day.
Stumpy?
Stumpy, yeah.
He's a legend.
So Stumpy loves to have a drink, right? So every day he's having a drink, right? But we're like kind of like keeping it together. We got to play shows, right? But when we had a day off, he was so happy to sit in the bus all night.
He'll drink like 4 bottles of wine or
bottles of vodka.
Crazy.
Yeah, he was so happy.
Crazy.
But we used to say we've been stumpied the next day because we'd wake up with like the worst hangover. But it was fun, it was really fun.
And he was like, "What are you doing today?"
No, he was kind of, we had
a rough morning.
He actually woke me up one night, right? Because he was so drunk, he thought we were at the border, right? And we weren't. We were just driving to another place, and he woke me up and he goes, it's border control, and I'm like, what? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what? And he's like, okay, we're back to bed.
Yeah, we got a lot of stories. Some we can tell, some we can't.
I know, I guess so. What is the wildest thing that has ever happened to you on tour and you can tell about?
There's 2 I can come to mind that I can tell about. There was a first tour of America. We're in the tour bus, and this is an American tour bus, so they're much bigger and much more luxurious. And at 70 miles an hour down the motorway, Mark goes to the front of the bus. He opens up the exit
on the roof,
goes through there, walks along the bus, and then comes back through the other exit. So we're like, and he just walked in and came down the other side.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the most mental. I mean, he could have easily died. Another one was when Ace got so drunk that
many times drunk.
So, this one you were so drunk that we got felt markers, and had parts of him were hanging out the tour bus curtain. So all the parts that were hanging out the half we coloured in. So we kind of coloured in half his face with felt tip black permanent marker, half his hand, half his knee, and his foot. And he was like that for 2 weeks. It wouldn't come off. It was really funny.
The thing is, though, I fell over. I kind of knocked myself out. I was drunk. I fell over big time, and I kind of fractured my wrist.
He pretended that he fractured his wrist.
And they had to take me to hospital. It's true. So they pulled up to the hospital, right? And I get out, and I go, and I look in the mirror, and I've got all this writing on my head, right? So I put a woolly hat on my head, and I go in the hospital. It's boiling hot. And they go, we're going to x-ray your hand, right? And I rolled up my sleeve and it said, kiss my ass. Down my sleeve. Actually said this.
Yeah.
We've had some fun times.
No, we've had some fun times. Yeah.
And we survived it.
I've cleaned up a lot of vomit. Because
so you were the cleaner.
I'm the cleaner. I'm the one that will clean up the vomit that when they get so drunk and they puke all over the tour bus. And I have to clean out before the tour bus guy sees it and kicks us off the bus, and then we're having to get taxis or trains.
So you are trying to tell me that you're the responsible one?
No, I'm the one. I'm the one that can see disgusting things and not puke. So those guys, if they see the amount of puke and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh, come on now, roll my sleeves up and clean it up. I've cleaned up a lot of puke.
Never happened on a
The perfect
rubbish. There's that time, Paul. Rona, Paul, you one time.
I've never thrown up on a bus.
Bullshit.
Sick on the bus.
Near
banned,
it, yes, but not on.
Yeah.
I cleaned up a lot of puke. And my own.
Anyway, that was 24 and a half years ago, the last time that happened.
So it still happened. It's like that puke is fresh as it happened, this morning. I can still see it and smell it, and it still tastes the same.
How have you survived all those years of madness?
You know what? Because
you know what, we go up to the line, but don't really go over it. And we have a motto. It's like, have fun, but not at the expense of everybody else in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's, so we bring people into the party, but if they don't want to party with us, then we don't kind of make it a miserable experience to be in the same room with us. I don't know how we do that, because it's usually Cassie's charm, isn't it?
Yeah. But the thing is, the way we survive as well is we don't take everything too seriously, but we take the things serious that we need to. right? But we're also quite multi-dimensional. So we could be like having a drink. Or
Well,
whatever,
I am.
But we could be sitting in a super nice restaurant in a super nice place, eating great food and talking about cool things.
And getting drunk there.
Yeah, or we could be going to the Ferrari factory, or, you know, shopping in some really nice place, or going to a movie on a day off. We're very varied. And I think that's what keeps us going. Because if we were all mad all the time, it would just implode, wouldn't it? Or if we were super boring, we'd just not want to see each other. So, and we pick and choose when we feel like doing stuff. So if someone's not having a day where they want to see anybody, they'll just go off on their own and no one will hassle them. They go, oh, they just need space. And I think that's it, respecting each other's space and basically enjoying it, enjoying the ride.
Yeah, because the first time, everything was so serious. You know, we were like having all this success and it was stressful and new and we don't know how to react and we didn't really enjoy it. You know, the second time around, we're just like, you know, it's all fun. We could be working hard, digging a ditch, or we're working hard, sitting in front of cameras in Warsaw, talking to you. Mm-hmm. Which one's harder? so yeah.
I guess I know.
I guess, yeah, yours. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, you. Yeah. So, and, you know, it's just, I think bad things happen and horrible things happen and that's just life and you just have to get over it, really. I think also none of us are that like, none of us hold a kind of grudge too much, you know, apart from Cass.
But you know what's
when
great?
Cass decides to be miserable,
The great thing about music, isn't it? It's like no other job, really. It's like, you know, when you finish at 5:30 in the office, you don't all hug each other and go home and go, hey, that was a great day in the office, man, and hug each other.
We do it.
Right? But when you're on tour, you know, when you're on tour, it does. The end of the night, everyone's like, yeah, man, and giving each other a hug. And whether you've made money or you haven't made money in music, I've seen it. I've done shows with my guitar school kids, right? It makes no money, it costs us money, and we put all the show on, and at the end of the day, everyone's all hugging each other and leaving. I'm like, you don't get that with a job, you know? These people haven't even made any money and they're still really happy. And I think that's difference about music is at the end of the night when we've done our thing, we feel quite fulfilled, right? And kind of very uplifted, I suppose. And it's just, you just don't get that with anything else. And I think that's what can make it
I do think I still have the belief that it's a privilege to be involved in music. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's very difficult, but it's like a higher art form, and I think it's a privilege to actually, you know, have chosen this and be able to do it. We're grateful, not always grateful all the time, but it's a good experience,
and it's worth the hustle.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I couldn't be a lead singer though, man. It's quite heavy holding this mic for this long.
After all those years, you're telling it finally on camera.
Yeah.
My friend said...
It's heavy.
Yeah, no.
You weakling. Weakling.
My friend told me a story, right? He's like a doctor, and he said that he was like delivering a baby, and this guy was with his wife, and she was holding his hand, and she was squeezing it. He was going, it's actually really hurting my hand now.
Weakling.
And I just thought, oh my God, don't say that loud.
How to get along with people in your band, even if you're on tour and people get on your nerves.
Do you know what? I think that how
not to kill your colleagues.
How not to kill your colleagues is don't bear a grudge. If something happened and you got pissed off, and you know, just get over it and do it quickly.
Yeah.
Because the tour bus is too small for people to be moody and unhappy and bearing grudges. I mean, I always have and I have this in my personal life. If you have an argument, fix it before you go to sleep. So don't wake up with the same argument that you had the night before.
Sleep with a clean heart.
Sleep with a clean brain and heart. And if you do go to sleep vexed or whatever, wake up in the morning and just go, oh, that was last night. And just kind of walk in and just forget about it, you know? And I think that's really important in a band is just don't hold on to things, you know? Just move on.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not that easy to forgive people.
I think
it is easy.
Yeah, it is. It's easy.
You know what? Because when you do a gig, you have to do a gig. You can't be standing there all miserable with the drummer because he drank your vodka or something like that. You know, you got to be performing to a gig. These people have paid money and they don't want to see a miserable band. Mm. So I think that's rule number one: is don't hold on to it. You know, if you have an argument, just get over it, move on, and make yourselves a cup of tea, have a drink, and just forget about it. That's number one.
Yeah. Number two would be understand what makes people tick. Right, so understanding when people are in different places to where you are. So if they're in a
respect if
they're
the
in
vibe.
a bad mood, or how to make people
respect
happy.
The energy and respect the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. So to kind of like when to leave them alone and when to kind of tap into what's going to kind of bring them up and stuff. So if someone's having a bad day and it's nothing you can do, just leave them. We have a grumpy room on tour.
We have a grumpy room.
It's a room on backstage, a dressing room, a little tiny room that's empty. And if someone's grumpy, they can sit in there on their laptop all day without talking to anyone. Mentioning no names.
Mentioning no names whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's none of you.
Mark.
Okay.
Mark's grumpy room.
Mark's grumpy room.
I get the idea of being on stage and being a united band because people don't want to see
they don't want to see a miserable. How many times have you seen that? I saw the police and Steve Copeland and Sting were just like this at each other. I can't stand no hope to them. Can't stand. And I was just like, get over it, man. I paid £220 for that ticket, and you're standing there all vexed with each other. I think number three.
Losing out of the song.
Yeah.
Can't stand you.
I was number three. I think it's in no particular order, to be honest, but I think you got to remember the real reason why you're there. You're there for the music, and really that comes first, and that's what's more important than anything else, really. And I think just kind of stay focused with why you're there and what you're doing, and don't let tiny little stupid things kind of become big problems. It's like you're in a band, you love each other really, and it's just like the music. If you're there to do music, you're there to be a band, you're there to be cathartic and all those musical reasons, and don't let anything else get in the way of the music. I think that's quite important.
That's number three. Number four, then, live the moment. I think live in the moment. A lot of people don't know how to live in the moment. I think it's an art in a certain way. So you've got to, rather than worrying about when's the next thing happening, when's the next gig, what about this CD, when's this sell, go on stage and be there, right there at that moment. Enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
And
don't be worrying about the next thing.
Yeah.
Or worried about something that just happened.
Live the moment. And if you can live in the moment, it's kind of an amazing thing.
Yeah. It's like you're in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just in the grumpy room all the time.
And otherwise, you're just like looking ahead, and you're so busy looking ahead that you forget all the fun that you could be having right now.
Yeah.
Number 5, I would say really important, is always put fresh socks on the rider. Because you're going to lose them. You're going to where are my socks? Socks just disappear. Just have in your head that socks disappear. There's a black hole in the tour bus, whatever. And, socks are not important. They're just there to put your foot in for the shoe. It's not like a cool pant or a cool jacket. It's a sock. Nobody sees it. It's not important. So just get them on the rider and just get fresh socks every day. And if you lose them, it doesn't matter. We did actually find the black hole in the bus that eats the socks.
It was underneath the bunk.
It was
like
underneath
a fan,
the bunk.
and
There
it
was a
sucking
fan.
the socks underneath.
It's like we've one day, 2 months into the tour, we couldn't find it. And one day, we're like
25 years of socks.
yeah, we found, and it was like 10 pairs of socks stuck to this fan. I'm like, there's a black hole of socks. It's right there.
It must have been interesting.
Yes.
This discovery.
We thought that Cass was giving them to the fans when he went out drinking in return for drinks. Here's a sock, I'll have a pint.
This is one of Skin socks.
One sock per pint.
Still wet.
It's a great idea.
Take it.
If he hasn't done it before, he needs to start.
I've thought of number 6.
Yeah.
Shower. I don't need to say anything else.
Yeah, there you go. That's just a one word. Number
Shower.
6 is one word.
Number 6 is just shower.
Can I have number 7? Have a good time all of the time.
You've already said that.
That's Spinal Tap.
Okay, I got number 8. Number 8
Number 8.
is always slap Ace every morning. Just as you go past this bunk, just give him a slap.
Can't say that.
Yeah, it's like, the Hammersmith thing where they tell the joke, they roll the thing before they go on stage and tell the joke. Just Ace, just slap him. Done.
Oh, not this again.
Yes.
It's cruel.
Just slap Ace.
But if it works.
A slapping Ace a day is worth what?
There isn't any worth. It's priceless. Priceless.
Priceless.
Priceless.
Yeah.